How's it going, Star Wars fans? Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Doctrines podcast. We're excited to be with you. I'm Cody Dastrup.
I'm Logan Schultz.
Today we're doing part 2 of our podcast series called One Thing I Would Change. Essentially, just to sum it up, we're taking each movie one by one and pretending we have the opportunity to change one thing about the story.
Right.
And like you said, not to take away from anything that we love about Star Wars, but maybe just as fans, one thing that we think would have made maybe the storyline better. We could be totally wrong, but sometimes we think we have good ideas.
Occasionally.
But that being said, this is episode 2. We're going to take a look today at Attack of the Clones. We've already done The Phantom Menace, so be sure to check that one out as well. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Logan, what would you change about Attack of the Clones?
What would I change? A lot. But I think for me, one of the biggest things, and I actually had to think about this one a lot, just because there's a lot that goes on in episode 2. It's a very busy movie, honestly.
True. It's all over the place.
Yeah. I guess the one thing that, for me, that I really would like to see more of is Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship be able to be developed in episode 2.
Okay.
And I do think we have some great moments in episode 2 that it takes place. Like, we get to see the intro of those two being together, protecting Padme, kind of the rash, and then side of Anakin, and then the more calm and demeanor by Obi-Wan.
Sure.
Supporting each other, yeah. But, we want to pursue that relationship a little bit more. So the way that I would do that is by changing the assignments made, basically. So we get to see Jango Fett tries to kill Senator Amidala. So Obi-Wan obviously wouldn't get sent off alone, leaving Anakin Skywalker to stalk this girl. That's just a terrible decision.
To stalk this girl.
So instead of having creepy stalker hang out in Naboo area for pointlessness, basically, because they don't go there for any real plots to the movie.
That's true.
That they travel together because, Padme Amidala, she's an awesome character. She's super into things. She's super powerful.
She wants to be involved.
She's a powerful woman figure who wants to be involved and honestly kicks a lot of butt when she is.
True.
So she wouldn't be okay with just being sent off world. So she comes with them to do that and
find out who her killer is.
To find out who her killer is.
Or
her would be a killer.
Yeah.
She's not dead. Sorry. But yeah, she comes with them, and then that brings up an interesting dynamic where we get to see Obi-Wan kind of spearheading the mission, and Anakin can still feel that resentment that he has towards him at some times, and it can be communicated to Padme during this,
Obi-Wan's holding me back.
Yeah, we can still have that sort of scene.
Yeah. But
this way we get to see them together. I mean, I think one of the things that made episode 4 such a hit, there's lots of things, but was getting to see Luke and Han Solo and Padme's daughter, Leia, together,
Definitely.
Having that trios dynamic where they all got to play off of each other was really special. And I think having that trio that we obviously knew was there actually go on a mission together, I think would really define them even more as a trio and kind of build all three of their interconnected circle that we have between them.
Definitely. Well, there's nothing that I think the prequel trilogy needs more than Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship being defined in general.
For sure.
More because, dude, I still cry tears when I watch episode 3 and Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting each other and Obi-Wan says, "You were my brother."
For sure, yeah.
But let's give that even more weight. Give them more screen time together. Give them more memories that we get to witness and see their relationship and their connection on screen. That'd be awesome.
Right. I think, honestly, one of my favorite parts of Revenge of the Sith is the boarding of Grievous's ship and seeing how obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan start to play off each other and how years of service have bonded them.
Right.
So getting to see that more in episode 2, where we get to see, like, maybe it's a little clunky with them being new and stuff, but, it's still master and apprentice and they still have a good vibe. That would be fun to see to me, and we would get to see that in Kamino, and we could make Kamino a little more interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But just the traveling to Kamino, we could have a lot more there, and, Anakin can be pissed off because he's with Obi-Wan. He can be mad at Obi-Wan holding him back or whatever.
And we can see it.
And he can cry to Padme that way, and I think that would be an interesting way to still pursue their love story, is Anakin still complaining and still expressing his feelings to Padme because he's around Obi-Wan, so he has to confide in her.
Right, and before that, maybe he didn't have anybody who really listened, because all the other Jedi are probably just like, hey, listen to your master. He's your master, you know? So that would actually, yeah, I like that a lot. Funny, one thing I just thought of completely off topic, but about how Obi-Wan and Anakin on Grievous ship, how they seem like they're brothers, right?
Right.
There's that deleted scene where they're literally giving each other hand signals, and they know what
which
that
is terrible
means.
but hilarious.
I'm so glad they cut it, but I love it, and it's hilarious to watch, and I'm glad it's a deleted scene because I can.
We'll put it somewhere so y'all can find, because that deleted scene is amazing.
Just amazing. I'll have to share it on the page or something. It's so funny because they're literally giving each other like baseball signals, like hand signs, and like.
And they're accepting and rejecting the call. It's awesome.
Because they know each other that well that they can do that. They have a secret code, and it's hilarious. So yeah, I dig it. I would totally love to have more screen time with Anakin and Obi-Wan, and obviously Padme in that mix as well. So
yeah, for sure. What about you though? I mean, my idea is great, obviously. No.
For me, I really like yours the more I think about that, but I think I will address just what I think is the more obvious, more talked about one is just the dialogue in general.
Oh, the elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. There's some terrible dialogue in episode 2.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Majority of it for me, I can handle most of it. Majority of it for me is the love story dialogue.
Right, I can deal with I hate sand. Actually, I like I hate sand.
It's very quotable, it's memeable, but the issues I have is with how Anakin and Padme talk to each other.
Okay.
It's not very like, I don't know, like it's not how you talk to girls. It's not how, and honestly, like I think Hayden gets more of the crap in general.
I think too much for it. But
yeah, it's more of the lines.
It's awful, really.
But Padme's, a lot of them aren't even better.
Mm-hmm. Padme's lines are pretty terrible.
When she's like, I deeply, truly love you, you know, and it's like, if we could just have a moment between them where they don't get weird and they just kiss, then I would have been fine with that. You know, like at that moment, she could have said something more simple, like, I know I said that then, but I've thought about it more, and I don't want to be apart from you, whatever. Or we might die anyways, so let's give it what we can. Or, you know, just something less.
She didn't even have to talk, honestly. She just kissed him, and then
exactly. And then it's just, some of it's so overdone. And going back to the episode 1 discussion we had where I said that I would change Anakin's age.
Right.
I think that ties in perfectly too, because having him a little bit closer to Padme's age, the maturity might be there a little bit more. They could have maybe a more mature relationship.
Right.
And less, Anakin's just still very immature, you know?
Right.
And there is that aspect of it where it's like, okay, Padme's a little bit older and mature, and she's kind of the voice of reason.
Right.
But I don't know. To me, it was a little too dumbed down.
Okay, I think that's fair.
And Star Wars has always kind of been a love story. Like you have the Leia and the Han stuff, but that was fun. Like there was cute lines without being over the top. I love you. I know that's classic.
Right.
We could have done something better to me in that realm with Anakin and Padme.
I agree. And honestly, just watching Anakin and Padme, I feel like the problem I struggle with so much is seeing Anakin and Padme be like so distant. Like Padme's completely rejecting him. Like, you're creepy, which he was, but you're creepy. Get away from me, or don't talk to me.
Don't look at me like that.
Yeah, all of these things where there's no relationship there. Period. That's it. To, oh my gosh, we're clearly in love with each other and always
live
have
without
been.
you.
Right, and there's several times in the film where Padme and Anakin are together and not, and then together and then not. And I feel
it's hot and cold.
Yeah, it's so hot and cold, and I feel like
cute Katy Perry song.
Yes, but I feel like you could, try and do with. I feel like episode 5, honestly, had a little more subtlety, even though they're directly addressing the relationship frequently.
Yeah,
it wasn't about saying I love you, I love you, I love you, or whatever. But I mean, the circumstances are different. But having it more be focusing on what they had in episode 1. Episode 1, their relationship is all about comfort.
Okay.
Right. So maybe you could have it stay kind of being more about comfort rather than like I'm passionately, madly in love with you.
It kind of ties more into what you were saying at the beginning about what you would change,
right,
about having Anakin go to her about the Obi-Wan stuff, which he does, but in a more like, hey, I need someone who's here for me kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
Less about lust and just the way they kind of had it. So, yeah, that's what we would change about episode 2, Attack of the Clones. If you guys have any other ideas, would love to hear them in the comments, so drop it down there. If you totally think our ideas are stupid, like I've said before, let us know.
It's rude, but You can tell us.
Logan cries, so be gentle with him, but I can take it.
All right, that's it for this episode. Please follow us, like us on Facebook, here, everywhere, Instagram, and always, may the Force be with you.